Once again, good morning. I'd like to begin my words today with a true story that happened recently. I had the honor, not that long ago, of celebrating a wedding, not that long ago, in another diocese. While I was getting ready for the Mass in the sacristy, the sacristan and I were chatting about our diocese of Springfield and the fact that this person I was talking to enjoys watching the Chalice of Salvation each Sunday. This person went on to say, "Oh, Father, I just love Brother Terry and the way your diocese puts together the whole production. I mean, lots of dioceses record a weekend Mass, and it's available on TV or on the internet, but in my book, the Diocese of Springfield is the gold standard. It's the best. You people really know how to do it." I, of course, agreed with this person. My head was like this big as they were telling me this, and I do know Brother Terry and Mark DuPont and all the men and women on the crew, you are the best. So I just had to share that true story with you. It didn't happen that long ago. So it's always a pleasure to receive the call from Brother Terry asking if I would consider being the celebrant for the Chalice of Salvation. With that said, another true story. I remember vividly graduating from Pittsfield High School back in 1981. Following graduation, it dawned on me that I was never asked as a student to read really all the classic books that students in high school read. I read quite a few of them, but I graduated and said to myself, there are a number of books I never was asked to read in my English classes. So in the summer of '81, I decided to read a number of them. For instance, I read in that summer Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. I also read by John Steinbeck, The Grapes of Wrath. I also read that summer 1984 by George Orwell. And I read that summer The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. These classic books, of course, were written by amazing authors, and I'm so happy I challenged myself that summer. Another author whom I enjoy is an author named William Sidney Porter, who wrote in the early 1900s, but he didn't go by William Sidney Porter. He wrote under the pen name O. Henry, and he was famous for his short stories, which often ended not in a conventional way. If you've read the wonderful book, The Gift of the Magi, then you know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't read it, read it, The Gift of the Magi. So, again, I want to share with you a little tale of one of his other books, O. Henry. It's the tale of a little girl whose mother had died. The little girl would wait, after her mother died, the little girl would wait all day long for her father to return from work. This little girl longed to sit on her dad's lap and just be with her dad. She was emotionally starved for signs of affection and again waited for her father to come home just to sit on his lap and be loved. Every night, however, the father would return home and follow the same routine. He'd eat dinner, flop into his favorite chair, light up his pipe, and read until bedtime. When the little girl came to her dad and tried to sit on his lap, he would say to her all the time, "Honey, can't you see Daddy's tired? Go outside. Go outside and play." The little girl did go outside and play to amuse herself as best she could. As time went on, she got into trouble over and over again. The O. Henry story goes on to say that one day the girl died, and she approached the gates of heaven. St. Peter sees her coming and says to God, "She's led an evil life, dear God. Let's not allow her into heaven." Then comes the surprise ending that O. Henry's known for. God says to St. Peter, "No, you let her in. But when her father comes, hold him responsible for her." O. Henry's point is clear. God will be merciful to those who, through minimal fault of their own, are led astray. but God will be demanding toward those who are responsible for leading others astray. And we might add that the way we lead others astray is usually not by doing something to them. More often, it's by failing to do something for them. We fail to show love or affection, as the father did in the O. Henry story. This is especially true when it comes to children. We all know that children crave spoken assurances of love and approval. Love locked in our hearts doesn't reach them. It's like a letter or a text sent or written and not sent. If children are to become emotionally secure, we know this, they must hear us let them know about it. I love you. I'm proud of you. I'm so proud to be your father or your mom. I'm so proud that you're my son or my daughter. And what is true of children is also true of husbands and wives. We adults, too, crave concrete expressions of love, and we should not be afraid to show our emotions to the people that we love the most. I have this favorite poem that I read at weddings, and I read it often. It's written by a young girl in the 60s to her boyfriend, and it's called Things You Didn't Do. It goes, "Remember the day I borrowed your brand new car and I dented it? I thought you'd kill me, but you didn't. And remember the time I dragged you to the beach and you said it would rain and it did? I thought you'd say, I told you so, but you didn't. And the time I flirted with all the guys to make you jealous and you were, I thought you'd leave me, but you didn't. And the time I spilled blueberry pie all over your brand new car rug, I thought you'd drop me for sure, but you didn't. And the time I forgot to tell you that the dance we were going to was formal and you came in jeans, I thought you'd scream at me, but you didn't. Yes, there were lots of things that you didn't do, but you put up with me and you loved me and you protected me. And there were so many things I wanted to make up to you when you returned home from Vietnam, but you didn't." That's a hard way to learn that love is lived in the now. Today's gospel is an invitation from our Lord to ask ourselves, I think, two simple but important questions. First, what are we doing, you and I, what are we doing or perhaps not doing that may be causing another person to go astray? For example, if we're parents or spouses, are we placing ourselves at the service of our loved ones? Second, to what extent do we make an effort to help others who are going astray? Do we give our time, our creativity, our talents, even in a small way, to help those who are not as well off as we are? These two questions that today's readings invite us to ask ourselves are pretty simple but heartfelt. How we answer them may determine how we will be judged when we appear before God someday. Remember, love is lived in the now.